Friday, January 26, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So yesterday was a very interesting day in terms of currencies and precious metals. We saw currency markets, gold and silver, move around all over the place, especially towards the end of the day. There are many comments, first by the head of the ECB, Mario Draghi. He had a press conference after their meeting. He insinuated, didn't use Mnuchin's name, but said that Mnuchin was basically breaking the deal, talking about a weak dollar, and the market went all over the place when that happened. Gold and silver were kept down, actually, when the pound and sterling went up massively, and then Draghi came out and said no chance that we're going to raise rates this year, and the euro came back down, so did the pound. Eventually, gold recovered really well and was trading above 1360 after the COMEX close. But then President Trump came out and said that Mnuchin's comments were misinterpreted, and gold and all the currencies dropped massively. Gold got down to 1342 or 43, which was basically the high from the 15th of January. So it was like a retest of that breakout from that level. Silver as well traded down to just above 17. The pound traded down to like 140.50, and the euro as well went into its 123 handle from 125. So very volatile situation. It just looks to me that the currency wars, fiat currency wars, is heating up. But in my opinion, there's only one thing that will solve the problem of devaluation. Because if the dollar devaluates or devalues, that means all the other fiat currencies are going to go up. And if the euro devalues, that means the dollar is going to go up. So the fiat currencies, they're going to lose, how can I say, a lot of their control, because the only monetary asset that they can devalue against, that will not complain, will not worry about trade deficits, will not worry about unfair trade, and is not political. The only currency they can devalue against is gold. Gold here. And I want to talk about gold and how it survives instability. It survives fall of empires, unlike fiat paper money. Fiat paper money, of course, is backed by legal, by the law. And if governments or empires or states collapse, or the nature of that state changes, that paper money is going to implode, because it's fiat money is backed by a promise by a certain state or government. That's why gold is immutable. And I will talk about that a little later before I go through what's going on this morning. It's just before 8 a.m. London. So spot gold and silver have recovered this morning, actually. We've just traded up to a high of 1357. You remember well, that was the high last year. So now it's kind of a resistance. So gold has rebounded from the drubbing it got yesterday afternoon, early evening in the US. It's now 1355.30, up $7.50. Silver as well is up 20 cents at 17.50. So I think personally that was a bit of a dead cat bounce for the dollar. And this morning we've even made a new low in the dollar index, down to 88.87. Yesterday's low was 89.15. So the dollar index continued to drop lower. As I said, the turn in the dollar is baked in the cake. It doesn't matter what Mnuchin, Draghi, or Trump says. It can just create short-term volatility. The Dow is up 41, S&P up 6, so stock market, as usual, going up, but as the dollar goes down, is that real, that gain? So the pound has rebounded, the euro has rebounded, and so not surprising seeing the dollar index is that weak. So we got the pound at 142.50, up 112 or 0.79%. The euro is 124.80, up 84 pips or 2/3%, and the dollar is down against the yen 1/3% at 109.03. Crude oil 65.48. And yes, frustrating for a lot of people out there that are not US dollar holders or domiciled. For the people who are in Canada, in the UK, and in Europe who hold the euro, sterling, or Canadian dollar. It's been frustrating. Gold is actually not doing much, only because the moves in the currencies are exceeding the moves in gold. But eventually, these are all fiat currencies, and as I said early, if they all want to devalue because the US doesn't care. They have this attitude, we are the reserve currency. Our currency is your problem. They don't care about the exchange rate. And yesterday, President Trump was just paying lip service with his comments about the dollar. The dollar is going to keep going lower. So the only way we can see everyone devalue will be against gold and silver, against real things. And that's what's gonna happen, in my opinion. And as for gold being around even the fall of empires, I just took out some coins I had yesterday. They are bullion, but they're kind of historical, and I'll show them to you. This first one is the Pahlavi, 2.5 Pahlavi. That's the old Shah of Iran. He came into power when the CIA overthrew Mossadegh in 1953, and he was the Shah of Iran till 1979 when he had the Iranian Revolution. But you see, he's gone, but the coin's still here and is worth something. But I guess the paper money from his time, that's gone. I mean, so that's an interesting thing. And the other one I found was more close to home, where I was born, and it's from 1856 from Brazil. There you go. And I'll read the coin. It's Petrus II. So Peter II, he was the emperor of Brazil. Brazil from 1822 to 1889 was a monarchy. And yeah, this is the coin. We've had so many currencies in Brazil, but this gold coin that circulated back in the 1850s in Brazil and later, that's still worth something. Peter II, or Dom Pedro II, as they say in Portuguese, his regime or monarchy fell in 1889. Brazil became a republic, and since then we've had loads of paper currencies in Brazil, but this is still around and is still worth something. And the other one, I've got two actually, they're really interesting. It's from the one of them is the Kingdom of Italy, which is actually a kingdom that was formed by, created by Napoleon from 1805 to 1814 in the north of Italy. And I have here one of their coins. It's 40 lira, and it's a gold coin. We all know what happened to Napoleon. There he is in the back. And it says, Napoleone, Imperatore e Re. So Napoleon, Emperor and King, 1812. So Napoleon bit the dust. His gold coins haven't. It's still worth something. And the other one is the same. It's a Napoleon coin, but it's from the Empire of France, 1811. And it's the same weight as this one, but instead of being called 40 lire, it's called 40 francs. Same weight in gold. So there you go. 40 francs. So, and there's Napoleon. For the French, he was just emperor. Napoleon, empereur. So for the Italians, he was emperor and king. So very interesting. Just, I'm not defending any of these guys. I'm not defending Peter II of Brazil or the Shah of Iran or Napoleon. The point I'm trying to make is that this is real money. It survives collapses of empires. And in the case of Napoleon, 100 years later, it's still worth something. In the case of the Shah, 30 years later, it's still worth something. And in the case of the Brazilian emperor, 160 years later or so, it's still worth something. So that's why gold is the ultimate monetary insurance. Of course, in the meantime, we are exposed to shenanigans of the markets. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet, and you also can follow me on steemit.com and on Twitter. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.